Hey guys, welcome back. Happy Thursday. So today you're going to watch your video while you complete your notes. Remember, you got a paper copy of your notes if you were in person yesterday. So you're welcome to use the paper copy while watching, or if you would like to use Notability, you can. I just think it's a little bit easier with paper, but that choice is yours. Please make sure that you are taking complete notes, writing down everything I write, so that you have really good notes to use when you take your exit slip at the end of today's period. All right, let's get started. All right, so on our next slide, I gave you a quick little remembrance here. So I want you to remember that R2 means R times R. R times R. All right, so R squared, when you have that little 2 in the top corner, it means that you're multiplying whatever the number is times itself 2 times. All right, so there is a button on your iPad calculator or your TI-30, your handheld calculator, and it looks like this, right? It's that X2 button, X with the little 2 in the top corner there. So we're going to do a little practice. We're going to start by finding 5 squared by typing the following. So on your calculator, I want you to actually practice doing this. You're going to type in the number 5, and then you're going to hit that X2 button, and then you hit the equal sign or the enter button. Okay, so these are the keys right here. These are the different keys, and actually probably what I should do is have shown you with like little squares, but you'll hit the 5 button, that's one button, and then the X2 button, and then the equal sign button. Each of those are different buttons. And so we find out that 5 squared is 25. So when you do that, you should have gotten 25. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of practice here. So practice using the X2 button while answering these questions. All right, so I really want you to focus in on using that X2 button to help you solve these. So we'll do a couple of these together, and sometimes they're easy to do in your head, but sometimes they're not going to be as easy to do in your head. Okay, 3 squared, for example. Remember, when you square something, it just means you're multiplying it times each other. So 3 times 3, well, that's going to give me 9. But on our next one here, we have 7.1 squared. So it's 7.1 times 7.1. So pause the video for a second. Go ahead and use your X2 button to figure out the answer. And we figure out that 7.1 squared is 50.41. All right, now in these next 2 problems, I just told you to find the square of these numbers. It's the same question as up above. I just didn't put the little square above it because I told you here. And I did that purposely because you're going to sometimes get problems that say find the square of something, and you need to know what they're talking about. So really what it's saying is just find 3.2 squared. So 3.2 squared is going to give you 10.24. All right, I want you to do that last one before you move on. All right, so now we're going to really get into the meat of this lesson today. So finding area of a circle is pretty simple. Just like circumference is, it's just practicing with using a formula. Okay, so our formula for finding area of a circle is area equals pi r squared. And so we could even get rid of the whole word area and just call it A equals pi r squared. All right, and then we just have to remember what r is. Well, what is r? R is the length of the radius. Okay, so let's jump in. We've got 2 problems here. Let's do a couple of these together. First things first, always write out your formula. Area equals pi r squared. I see too many people taking shortcuts. Please don't be that person. All right, and now you're going to fill in what you know. We do not know area. That's what we're solving for, so we keep it as A. We do know pi, so we write it down as 3.14. And we know the radius. The radius in this equation is 12 squared. All right, that 2 goes with whatever the radius is. All right, so now we're going to solve. And you can do this problem in a couple of ways. When you solve on your calculator is going to do PEMDAS for you. All right, I'm just going to do one of these where I break down the steps for you. And so we would first do, PEMDAS tells us to first do exponents, right? Parentheses, then exponents. So it would be 3.14 times 12 squared is 144. And then 144 times 3.14 will give us 452.16 miles squared. Now this part is important, guys. When we're squaring something, it means it's two-dimensional. And so our answer has to also show that it's two-dimensional. So we keep the square with the unit, okay? We're squaring the number, but now it is miles squared. All right, so that's important. That's a difference with area, that we add that little 2 onto the unit. All right, let's try our next one. So first we write our formula. Area equals pi r squared. We don't know our area, so we write A equals 3.14 times 5.2 squared. And then you just type all of that into your calculator. You would type in 3.14 times 5.2 with the x2 button right above it. All right, and I'm going to get A equals 84.9056 kilometers squared. Don't forget to put that square at the end of your unit. All right, so let's try one more together, and then I'll have you do the next one on your own. So again, we're finding area, and we have our formula A equals pi r squared. So we start out by writing our formula. A equals pi r squared. So we do not know A, that's what we're solving for, but we know pi. And we know the radius. Well, I should say we don't know the radius. We know that the diameter is 22.6. So that means the radius is half of that. Remember, radius is only half of a circle. So I'm just going to take 22.6 and I'm going to divide it by 2. So I get 11.3. All right, so my radius is 11.3 squared. All right, so you're going to take that calculator and I want you to type it in. Do not just wait for me to give you the answer. Pause the video. Challenge yourself. How do you use that X2 button? If you forgot, rewind the video up to the first slide where we talked about using the X2 button. All right, so 3.14 times 11.3 X2. And we would get area equals 400.9466. And this is yards squared. All right, now you're going to do this next one. Now remember, here you have the diameter of 6. You need to get the radius. What is the radius? And then please copy down your formula. Plug in your numbers and solve. I want to see this problem completed when you turn in your notes. All right, and then we're going to find the area of this semicircle. Now, what do we know about semicircles? Semicircles are just half of a real circle, okay? An area is all of the space inside. So I'm going to just draw a circle over here. And for circumference, we had to add something back on, but a semicircle is a little bit different because, let's pretend here, area is all the space inside. So I just colored it in because area is all that space inside. So that means that when I have my formula, A equals pi r squared, I need to first find what my radius is. So for this one, my diameter is 13, but my radius then, if my diameter is 13, my radius is going to be 6.5. So area equals 3.14 times 6.5 squared. All right, so I would solve that. And that's going to give me that radius of, or that area of the whole circle. Times 6.5 squared. And so I would get area equals 132.665 meters squared. So I'm going to show you what happens. I just found the area of this entire circle, right? Pretend this is my circle. I just found the area of that whole circle, so all of this space in between. All right, but my actual circle, right, my problem circle is only half of a circle. So what do we need to do? Sorry, what do we need to do? We need to divide that circle in half because we don't need this other half. We only need the first half, right, the top half. So we're going to divide this by 2. So 132.665 divided by 2, and we get area equals 66.3325 meters squared. Now, when we do circumference, we have to add our diameter or our radius back in, but for this particular one, we don't have to because it's the inside that counts for area, right? And so that bottom line is already there because it's the inside that counts. So we are done. So all we have to do for area of a semicircle is our regular formula, area equals pi r squared, and then we just divide it in half. That's it. That's area of a semicircle. That's the formula. All right, you did a great job. Make sure that all of the problems are complete with all of your work written down, and submit your notes to Schoology for me, and then go on to Schoology and use your notes to complete the exit slip. You do get 2 chances, okay, but I'm not giving you 3. So do it and do it well and use your notes and take your time and you will do great. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow.